Pickaxe.
Welcome, everyone, to our Sync One Shot, brought to you by Sync, a 5e adventure supplement in partnership with Hit Point Press, featuring new feats, 50-plus magic item tattoos, modular dungeons for levels 3 to 10, and so much more. I am your captain, Jose, and you can find me on all the fun socials, such as DM Jose G and such. And let me go ahead and introduce to you my trusted, my loyal, and me best crew, starting with Ryan.
I can't do a pirate voice. Ryan McManus. You can find me on my personals at Ryan.McManus or running the Cast Party socials at Cast Party D&D. And I'll be playing the Mistbreaker Ranger.
Next up, we have May.
I'm May. I play in the Nocturne game. I'm very excited to play pirates with these people, and I'm May LaFay on social media. And I am playing the Tide Song Bard today.
Next up, we have Christian.
Oi! I kinda can do a pirate voice. And you can find me not only in the Nocturne game, but also specifically only actually on Instagram at Captain Carlson. And I'll be playing a Buccaneer fighter.
And lastly, we have Walking the Plank, Nigel.
Ahoy! I'm Nigel. You guys know what it is. I'm on main cast party crew, and you can find me at Nigel Sucks LMAO on every social that matters. It's mostly Instagram, and I'm playing a Spellskin Wizard.
At the time of this episode airing, Sync's Kickstarter is now live, so go ahead and check them out at get.synkrpg.com and Kickstarter. It is very exciting for me to be working not only with the people recording this episode today, but also with such amazing creators and artists such as Sam Rusk, Rick Esquivias, and Johnny Stanton IV, who are the three spearheading the Sync project, which I'm very excited about. So definitely go check them out, give them your support. If you check out their Kickstarter, they have some really awesome tiers with some really awesome benefits and boons for any pirate's treasure.
Plunder their riches and get full of booty or something. I like that.
Get full of booty?
We open on the waves of the Calderreach Sea, crashing along the Hades Hound. A beautiful Macassar ebony ship with burgundy sails displayed proudly amongst its three masts. The moon graces the tide on this evening, almost kissing the sea with its presence, as the waves slowly continue to crash into the hull of the mighty ship you all find yourselves on. There on this beautiful night, the deck is alight with candle flame, as we see a ritual of sorts taking place, if you can call it that. You hear the voice of Leland. Now I done tell ye, the boy was raving on about some creatures in the deep. Way down it took him, just nearing the old locker, he says. You see Leland, a Triton, an older individual with blue skin and a braided dark green hair, sitting on a barrel that is secured to the body of the main mast. You watch as he drops an empty rum bottle, and then he fidgets and finds a golden scuffed up pipe, and as he presses it to his mouth, he says, he spoke of symbols and visions as he sunk down. And he lights the pipe. Who is Leland looking to, Ryan?
Leland is looking up at a larger individual. The years have been kind to his belly, but not to his face. He's a large 7-ish foot Goliath with a full beard, two braids coming down where the mustache would connect to the beard that go about chest height, along with a mess of tied up silver braids tucked under a large pirate hat. Kind of ratty attire, though attached around his waist just looks like a large iron chain that keeps his belt up. This is Ramsford, though the crew references him as Hoist. And I'll be playing the Mistbreaker Ranger.
Leland gives you a look with the one eye that he has available, as the other one's hidden by a dark green eye patch. You think him mad? I thought so too. But the look in his eye, Hoist. Oh, I've seen that look before. He gets up from the barrel. As he does, he scoots past you, Christian. What is he coming into contact with?
He comes into contact with two legs that are propped up on a supply crate, pushing through them almost as though you'd push through the turnstile going into the subway station or something as the legs flop past. But their legs are in a nice, very weirdly militaristic looking like uniform. Their boots, they're black, they're shined, or at least they probably were at one point shined. They're pretty scuffed now. The pants matching black, but they're covered in a number of stains from who knows what. The shirt similarly has that militaristic button style, but about at his chest, the buttons stop being buttoned and it flies open. He's got the epaulets on, but they're covered in these like leather pauldrons. He's got one metal gauntlet on for the hand that he seems to favor. The face is one of hardened emotion. There is a lack of age, but there is a sort of like deep set brood that looks as though it maybe has overtaken what was once cocky expression. The hair is very salty, wavy, unkempt, but it works for him because he is an Eladrin elf. So whatever's happening for them, it always seems to work in a very attractive way. Pointed ears, he's got silver eyes, the gray hair and a gray beard. Kicked back, got his feet up on the crate. And so as you push through, he allows you to go and he just chuckles a little bit.
You are all sitting clustered together, semi-listening to Leland's tale. But the one thing that you're all huddled up against is Nigel, as you're tattooing May's character. Nigel, can you describe to me what your character looks like? And then May, afterwards, if you can tell me what is Nigel tattooing and what your character looks like.
So you see another elf. This one is a high elf with light bronze skin. That could be just naturally how he was, or it could be from years and years in the sun. He's kind of the high elf equivalent of a 45-year-old pirate. Approximately 600-ish years old would be my guess. From his face, you can tell he's experienced. He's been around the world and back and could probably cash in and retire from piracy if he didn't just love it so much. He's wearing a colorfully floral shirt, completely unbuttoned, just loose flowing. Shorts that are more patches of new material than they are of the original, and a bandana wrapped around his head with dark black sunglasses covering the other like 1/3 of his face. No hair that you can see from underneath the bandana, but he does have like dirty blonde scruff on his face. He's got like a fit but not muscular build. He's thin but not skinny. Like he looks like he's kind of like worked out a healthy weight after years and years of faring with the sea. His whole entire right half, like imagine a line cut down his body, right half completely covered in tattoos. Like there is almost no bare skin on the entire right half of his body. Entire left half completely untouched. The most notable, the one that garnered his nickname, is a squid tattoo that covers most of the right half of his face. And his eye is where the creatures would be. And you'd all recognize him as Uncle Fisheye.
So the character that is being tattooed by Uncle Fisheye is a small half-elf. She is half sea elf, so her skin is this like bluish tint to it that kind of looks like the pallor of somebody who maybe like drowned or like almost drowned. And she has black hair tied in a braid, but you can see a little bit of like faint green growing out, so you can tell that she dyes her hair this darker color for a choice. She has lots of spiky silver earrings. She's dressed in all black. She has usually a couple instruments on her, not to tip you off on her class, but she's got her little lute on her back. She's got a little flute on her waistband. And then a little hand drum on the other side. And her name is Mary, but the crew jokingly calls her Mary because she only plays really sad songs.
Excellent.
She's a resident emo pirate. And the tattoo on her right side on her shoulder, you would see this colorful tattoo of a swallow in flight. The one that Uncle Fisheye is working on currently is an eye and then a wreath of leaves with most prominently this candle of a flickering flame.
Uncle Fisheye, can you describe to me how you magically imbue and transfer this tattoo with magical properties over to Mary?
It doesn't look like a good process. It's one of those situations where in modern times, if you saw it, you're like, you cannot legally work in this tattoo shop. You need to go to jail. Like, he's got no gloves on. He's barefoot and has not worn shoes ever. So he's like, his feet look kind of dirty, and he's just like kind of like freehanding it with this like part machine, part like it looks like a crystal on the end of a stick that he is scratching against the outer layer of Mary's skin to get that line in there. And it looks like it's not doing anything until suddenly things are there. And we're coming up on the end of the hour that it takes me to do this, but you can tell that this whole thing is come together. The little specks of blood as we are finishing up, I kind of just wave my hand, prestidigitation, clean that away, and you've got this beautiful sparkling tattoo that, despite the nasty way of it coming together, looks immaculate, healthy, fresh as can be.
As you are all enjoying the space with each other and chuckling and scoffing as Leland makes his way over to one of the railings on the side of the ship, you also notice on him a detailed mismatch of squid and octopus tattoos that adorn his forearms. And as he gets up, you notice that perhaps one of the tentacles even wriggle. Sure enough, he walks over, he takes a bucket tied to a rope, casts it over the side of the ship. Any old sailor will tell you every great pirate story doesn't, as the drink begins to take him, doesn't begin on the shores of a desolate island or at the back of a roaring cannon. Avast, ye fools! And he looks up to you with the one sort of crooked, crazy eye. Avast. Every great pirate story begins out there. And he looks over to the sea. He begins to reel the bucket back, now covered in water, lost in thought as he continues reeling it up, and he says, out there, the Calderich Sea. And as he brings the bucket up to the ship, he dumps it on his head, and as the water completely covers him and drenches him and it spills all over the deck, you watch as his skin, it loses that sort of wear and tear kind of texture to it, and it's almost rejuvenated. It brings an energy and a life back to Leland. Shakes it off and he says, way out there, surrounded by its greatness, there is where the smell of gunpowder, the clinking of steel, and the true test of the soul lies. Out there. Stops talking and looks out. You hear the waves crashing against the ship. That's where legends and unspoken treasures live, waiting for someone to sink. Now, I do apologize for making a mess on the deck again on top of all your other nightly duties, but such is the case even for seasoned landlubbers such as yourselves. You watch as he stands there and he looks at the empty bottle of rum that he dropped and he attempts to pick it up before he stumbles a little forward, and then he gets up and goes, never mind, I'm sure you'll attend to it. And he stops for a second, looks around the deck of the ship and points over to the crew's quarters and begins to make his way there. For tonight, it is your turn to upkeep and maintain the ship. As the night begins, can you all describe to me what tattoos you all have adorned on your skin, provided by Captain Fisheye?
Our good old Unk here has only tattooed one tattoo upon Hoist. As you look up at Hoist, you see cradled in his left arm is a wrought iron thick anchor resting upon his shoulder. And as you look down towards his upper bicep, you can see that exact same anchor tattooed on his bicep.
2 on the Sea Fox rolls up one of his sleeves. You see what looks like the barrel of a flintlock pistol peeking out. Very sleek design with some initials that you probably wouldn't recognize carved into the handle. Peeking out from the chest of his unbuttoned shirt, though, is the face of what looks like a siren, a blue-haired, blue-eyed siren, and you can't see much more of it as it dips down beneath where his shirt is buttoned.
Mary, you do have a slight sting as your skin begins to slowly react to the effects of a fresh tattoo. But as you continue your nightly duties, would you mind telling me what your passive perception is?
It's 12.
We'll keep going, Captain Fisheye.
So if you ever catch a glimpse of his chest under his shirt from about his waistline to right around the nipple, it is a massive lighthouse. Like, it covers up a big section of his torso. There are waves that are going across the very bottom of it. The light, though he wanted it to be positioned this way, he didn't end up at like getting it done the right way. So the light itself is not coming from his nipple. It's just like directly below it. That is his little beacon. It's a gorgeous, beautifully colored. And then again, you have to kind of be looking for it. Right behind his ear, along the curve of his ear, is a flintlock pistol, much like the sea foxes. It sits just curling around, and it's held by one of the tentacles of the squid that adorns his face. If you were to look closely at his right side, you'd see that Uncle Fisheye has all of the tattoos that have been described already in different places, maybe not as vibrant, maybe not as standoutish, but they are present throughout those. But the two that I've talked about are the most prominent. They almost like glow when you see them.
As you continue your duties for the night, you revel in each other's presence. You've all been adventuring for some time and are very accustomed to being paired together. You're looked at by the rest of the crew as the captain's favorite, but in a way it makes sense why. You've all taken on some personal secret tasks by the captain himself. You've all adventured together, and for the most part, there hasn't been anything that you haven't done for the captain that hasn't been in each other's company. I got Mary's passive perception, but could I get everyone else's passive perception too as the night continues on?
16.
14 passive perception.
Uncle Fisheye is 14. My passive investigation is 20. That shit's crazy.
I just wanted to take that number down, but if there's anything that you guys would like to engage with as you wrap up your nightly duties and begin to take watch, please feel free to do so. If not, we can move on to our next hour, if you will.
Hoist just kind of finds himself waltzing up and down, doing counterclockwise circles around the main deck of the ship, whether it's picking up the empty rum bottles or anything like that, doing his sweeping, tying knots where needed. Though upon first glance at him, you swear he's almost floating across the deck of this ship. The waves are not teetering him in the slightest. He is standing strong, even with a probably couple 100-pound anchor resting upon his shoulder. He is sturdy. If the waves dip right, it's almost like his body is a gimbal and correlates and goes left. He is rock solid as he's going about his night.
I think that Mary, she's down with the crew, but she loves her alone time. I think she would be happy to sit up in the crow's nest if nobody else is taking first watch. She is like crouched so that she can balance the looking glass on her knee and kind of occasionally look, but she's also just holding her little lute across her chest and playing the pirate equivalent of that secondhand serenade song. You know the one.
I think the Sea Fox is mopping. Similarly, is very good on his feet. I don't think as good. I don't know that it looks like he's floating, but he's very good. His footwork is very precise. So as the boat moves, he's very precise. But everything is very footwork oriented. Everything seems almost like he's in like a drill, but he's also humming under his breath these like different sea shanties, occasionally chastising himself for hitting the wrong position or something with the mop.
And Uncle Fisheye is kind of like quietly humming along to the same sea shanty that the Sea Fox is. Did not move from his spot where he had been tattooing. Like, in fact, he's lounging even more. Got a mage hand mopping on the opposite side of where the Sea Fox is.
Can we sword fight with mops? Is my question. Can we have there? If you've got the mage hand, then of course the Sea Fox will be like, we've gotta, right? We gotta.
Foxy, I think I'm a bit outmatched with this one, but you're welcome to it.
You're kind to me. Come on. Let's make it happen. and he's just gonna duel this mage hand mop around the deck.
Both Uncle Fisheye and the Sea Fox are engaging in this mop play while Mary just plays her lute. And then for you, Hoist, watching your friends enjoy this time with each other of peace and tranquility as the sea continues to crash against the ship, you hear a slight as an arrow flies past right underneath Mary and hits the sail on the foremast. But as the arrow passes through the sail and it rips through the fabric, the arrow almost disintegrates before a slight small wicker take ember, and then before you can even blink your eyes, the entire sail engulfed in flame.
Everybody down! I'll drop the mop and trade it for my actual blade.
The sail engulfs in flames. Hoist, you take notice of this. By proxy, just immediately close by, Sea Fox and Captain Fisheye, you both look up as the entire deck is now lit with flame. And Mary, for you, right underneath you, you begin to catch that immense heat that just takes you on a cold night without any issue. It just turns violently.
I'm going to try to escape this fire, but just really quickly before I do, I'd love to take a glance in the looking glass. Like, I don't know if I was looking the right way, but like whatever way I seem to think the arrow came from, and see if I can see.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I think I'm gonna try and just get between Fisheye and the fire.
Taking note of the arrow, the explosion, and the mast going up in flames, seeing it spread across the deck and knowing that Mary is up in the crow's nest, Hoist is going to run to the side and lean against the rails, with his fingers wisp up a little square of the ocean and try his best to shape water and put out the fire that's going to get to the crow's nest so Mary has a potential safer way down.
Lad, I'd suggest stepping back. Everyone off the deck. Seeing you shape that water, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to wait for like 5-10 seconds to see if anyone gets away from the deck. Knowing me, you know what I'm doing.
As soon as you say that, I'm moving away to clear the line of sight.
Mary, hold on tight. Flash open my shirt, and the waves that are underneath the lighthouse, they start like rippling. From that, using the water from Hoist's shape water and taking some from the sea, I'm casting Tidal Wave to try and put out as much fire as I can.
Do you want my perception check before I get swept away by this tidal wave?
Yes.
So I'm rolling. I totally accidental rolling my Kraken dice, and I rolled a Kraken, which is a nat 20.
Oh shit!
Nat 20. In that moment, as Captain Fisheye, you cast Tidal Wave. This torrent of water shoot up as Mary, you look, trying to pinpoint exactly where this arrow might have come from, and you look at the sail and you turn back, and there you see two fish-like creatures with adorning coral armor, this black voidless eyes that are in the water, almost like floating, looking up in your direction. And then the tidal wave brings them up towards the deck of the ship. As the tidal wave comes up, they jump off and land on the deck. As Captain Fisheye, your tidal wave sprays the sail, but the flames do not extinguish.
What the heck?
The fire continues roaring as now in this space, two Sahuagin creatures present themselves.
I thought that was supposed to work.
As the tidal wave comes up and you notice that the flames don't extinguish, you hear as the foremast begins to slightly topple over and is now broken from a main support and is just now teetering. The shrouds are almost what's keeping it up and the interconnecting ropes that are connecting all the masts together. But as of right now, that mast is heavily damaged.
All according to plan.
That ain't good. I don't know what your plan is, but that ain't good.
With that, I'm going to have you guys roll initiative.
All right.
Oh.
I hit a nat 20 on my initiative. That's a 24 for initiative.
Damn, boy.
Beautiful. I hit a nat 1. So
Uncle!
I'm rolling with real dice from here on out.
I got a 16.
19.
Christian, you're first.
As I watch the mast crack, I see these two creatures land. The sword already being drawn as I saw the fire erupt. A smile cracks, and I'm going to sprint 30 feet. As I hit that 30-foot mark, blink teleport right up next to these creatures. As I do, they're gonna take 3 fire damage as I land a plume eruption of what looks to be like these sort of like summer leaves exploding. I'm gonna turn to the one on my left with this saber. The smile just gets bigger as I say, "You picked the wrong ship." And I'm going to swing, not very effectively. That's gonna be a 6 + 7, so 13.
13 just misses. As you swing towards the creature, not even with flinching too much, just puff out their chest a little bit. Then your rapier scrapes along the coral, sending sparks, and the creature looks to you, lifeless eyes. The sea warns us of your path. Do not seek the grotto.
And I'm gonna do my second attack.
Okay.
Much better. 21 to hit,
Oh, that hits.
so 8 damage.
As that commotion is happening, Mary, on top of Crow's Nest, what are you doing?
How high up is the crow's nest?
Crow's Nest will roughly say about 60 feet up.
The fire's not obscuring me since it's on the next mast over, right? Like if I was to try and
you're
climb
good.
from where
you
I
can
am.
see right below, yeah.
Okay, I would like to climb down 30 feet. Wait, is climb movement the same as, is it different than your...
I mean, it doesn't matter if you just fall.
Chaos,
So don't listen to Hoist.
Ryan.
Hoist probably has a really high constitution.
Okay, so I'm gonna not fall. I'm gonna climb. What I would like to do, remember that swallow tattoo I mentioned? The bird on my shoulder? I am going to use that tattoo. Shout out to Uncle Fisheye. It activates Feather's Grace, which means that instead of climbing down, I'm gonna fly down 30 feet. I'm like just kind of float and grab onto the netting that you climb down at the end of that, because if I don't, I'll fall because I only get to use it for the one turn. So I'm 30 feet lower, and then I will use my bonus action to say, get rid of these scurvy dogs, and then I'll give Bardic Inspiration to the Sea Fox, which means that for 10 minutes you can add a d6 to your ability check, attack roll, or a saving throw. And then that is all. I'm just like arming the rope, like looking down at everyone.
The flames nearby, you're catching all of that heat as you begin to feel the mast teetering. You hear the wood creaking as it is still just the one sail engulfed in flame. It is now the Sahuagin creature. So we are going to go ahead and move. There are 2 before you. One that stands with a very predominant and strong polished trident. And then there's another one that in its arms and in its entire structure looks a little bit slimmer and smaller. And the trident looks more like a makeshift, still sharp trident, but not as elegant nor as regal as the one that the other one holds. That one is going to go ahead and use its claws against Sea Fox. It's going to go ahead and use its claw and its trident. First, the claws, that is a 12.
Does not hit.
The claws come out wide, try to hit you, but miss entirely. And then the trident, that is a 22 to hit.
It just barely hits.
As you get a little cocky with the attitude, the Sahuagin, who itself seems like it's more following orders, attempts at you with the claws before taking the trident and piercing you right on the upper part of your shoulder. You are going to take 3 points of piercing damage, and then it's going to peel it back. And unseasoned, unveteran, this Sahuagin will go ahead and move. So you will get an attack of opportunity, so it's going to go 30.
If that's going to hit, it's an 18 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Reeling from that trident. I think I started to say something cocky. I'm like, you don't. Oh! I see him moving, and I sort of flick this serrated rapier back. Not very well, though. It's only going to be for 5.
The creature coils away and continues moving forward. We have Hoist with Captain Fisheye on deck. Hoist.
Hoist is gonna go off to the leftern side, 25, 30 feet. Along the way, he is unraveling that large iron chain around his waist, which leads up to this anchor. as he is making his way across the deck, he is spinning himself fully to gain momentum like a hammer throw, and is plunging this anchor through the air as he releases, still steady as ever on this deck in the roaring waves at the, what are they? Sahuagin. At the one who just got opportunity attacked and looks like he's charging at us. So that is going to be the first attack. Oh, only 11 on that first one.
Okay.
As that anchor is released, you can see another form out of mist in that same spot. Seeing it most likely go wide and crash through the deck, we're gonna start spinning, and we're aiming this one at the other one for my second attack. The one that Sea Fox is engaged with. That's a 23.
23, that hits.
So, being that I am the Mistbreaker Ranger, the new subclass, this is my tether ability instead of an actual weapon attack. So it's still a weapon attack, but it's going to only deal 1d6, and this creature will have a magical tether around it, which I can utilize later. So it's going to do 5 damage. As my bonus action, I would love to use my other Mistbreaker Ranger ability, my Tidal Bond. Mine is Storm. All tethered creatures are going to be shocked in a burst of lightning as that chain connecting my waist and now hooked onto the Sahuagin across the deck. Lightning is going to start crackling around my waist and lead throughout the chain before it gets to him and starts zapping him. After, you make a dex save, please.
Oh, that's a natural 1. So,
Oh, beautiful. So you're going to take 5 lightning damage on top of that, and that is my turn.
the lightning coils through the chain, shocks the Sahuagin where it stands. There, Sea Fox, you see it jolt with electricity before the eyes blink and then open once again in a sort of ferocious stare in your direction. I didn't do its attack, so it is going to take its attack against you this turn before we move on to Captain Fisheye. It is going to go ahead and just use its trident against you, so that is a 15 to hit.
Meets it, beats it, right?
Meets it, beats it. So then you are going to take, since it is doing it one-handed, you are going to take 9 points of piercing damage as the trident pierces. But in that, there's still like jolts of electricity that are like surging through its entire body. And then it looks to you and goes, "Hello, warning of the sea." And it pulls it out before blood spews out onto the deck.
I was in the middle of saying, "Attaboy, hoist," as that trident hits, and I'm like, "God, you don't stop it with these tridents. I swear to God, I'm gonna kill you."
Don't be looking towards me. How about you keep your eyes in front?
That was good. The lightning was good. He just stabbed me with the trident.
I
God.
saw it because I'm paying attention.
No, I'm getting slow. I appreciate you paying attention, though.
Captain Fisheye, you're up. Sea Fox on deck.
So, seeing the Sahunigan,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
guy, seeing it like coming around in my direction, I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not for me. I step back another 30-ish feet.
Okay.
Running through my spells, I'm looking at my arms, my legs, because as the spellskin wizard, my spells are a part of me. They're part of the art that's adorning my body. And I look at my hand that has just this swirl of flame on the palm. It's this swirling flame, and he's like, "Can't get any worse." And I ignite my hand with the flames coming out of that tattoo, and I throw a firebolt at the little guy that was running towards me. 22 to hit?
Oh, that hits.
Hell yeah. So that is a total of 8 fire damage.
As your firebolt meets this weaker looking creature, it coils as all of its scales dry up simultaneously, and you see all of the moisture being sucked out of it. And then as it looks to you almost like panicked. And then as it holds there trembling, it looks to you and goes, "See, around the grotto is calm when you flesh arrive. But when it's lonely, it cries out," shouts in pain as it tries to find composure again.
All right, lad. I'm not sure we know what you're talking about with this grotto thing, but I'm starting to think we should not go there, maybe? Everyone in consensus with that, or is this turning the tides on this?
I would like to go there.
All right, I guess we're going. So, your plan backfired.
Sea Fox, you're up.
I'm just gonna go ahead and swing at him as I'm like, look, I don't know what the grotto is that you're talking about, but I'm more than happy to send you right back to whatever afterlife it is you got pictured, all right? And that is a miss, but as I miss, it's a distraction. As I pull out from this tattoo, this flintlock apparating from the tattoo, and it leaves the tattoo. So you see this empty spot where that gun barrel was poking out from underneath the black sleeve of my shirt, pointed at the face of this creature. That's cool. 17 to hit.
To the one right in front of you?
Yes.
I like it. It's supposed to have range, but I think it looks cool, so let's do it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Amazing. And that's going to be 9 damage as I just essentially put the flintlock to its forehead and fire.
You shoot. Pieces of the scales of this creature go shooting out onto the deck, lit just by the flame, the roaring flame of the sail. And it looks to you and goes, "Don't trust your steps. You flesh are weak. The grotto holds nothing for you that doesn't belong to us." Mary, you are coming down 30 or so feet down from the crow's nest. What are you doing with your turn?
I have my arm like latched through the rope, and I'm gonna pull my loop back off of my back, and so I can like strum it while I'm kind of like just hanging there on the ropes.
Okay.
And contrary to my inspiration last song, or last turn, I'm going to begin singing a sea shanty. And I just looked this up to find out if shanty could be sad, and they can. It just, the reason what sea shanties were is that they were sung by sailors to accompany their physical tasks on board, like rowing and stuff like that. So they just had to have a certain rhythm. I am going to sing a shanty. It's self-composed. It's about a siren who drowns this guy. And what this will do is...
Isn't that a Kelly Clarkson song?
No, I wrote it. It has nothing to do with her. So I'm singing this little shanty. You start hearing those sad, mournful tones. You guys have heard the song like a million times. You know it. So if you would like to join in, Hoist and Uncle Fisheye, you can join in as a reaction. And while you are singing the shanty, you have advantage on one attack, ability check, or a saving throw.
Ooh.
So essentially like Bardic Inspiration, but you get advantage instead of a d6.
Absolutely.
At the cost of
I'll
my
do
reaction?
that.
Hell yeah.
If you'd like to sing a little sad song with me,
I will absolutely utilize my reaction for that.
boys.
Same here.
Mary, you wrap your legs around the ladder, bringing you down from the crow's nest. You begin the shanty, which instantly Captain Fisheye and Hoist recognize, and you begin to hum along before you find yourselves almost breathing in fresh air and finding yourselves full of energy. So with that, having been shot in the face, the main Sahuagin, the sort of like stronger looking one, from its armor, you see as 2 other arms come out, now 4, as now with 2 arms on its left side, 2 arms on his right side, it grips the trident now, double-handed. And as it looks to you, it goes, "You're a fucking fool." And it's gonna try to stab you in the face with this trident.
Ow!
Oh.
22 to hit.
Oh, get faced.
Barely hits.
R.I.P. face card.
A nice 6 points of piercing damage. I rolled 2 ones. And with that, the Sahuagin's gonna come back. It is going to go 25. You do get an attack of opportunity, Sea Fox. And it is going to, at this point, look to you, Hoist, and it is actually going to throw its trident in your direction. At his face, because he got it a little bit the first time. And for you, Sea Fox, it was more of, you saw the trident come up, deflected yourself, the trident scraped against your forearms before it just stabbed you right in the gut, and then it peeled off.
So that's going to be 6 damage on that opportunity attack.
Okay.
Score a little bit against his ribs as he goes past.
When you slash, you notice that the Sahuagin begins to walk over, completely ignoring you, bloody, beaten, and for a brief second, you could swear that he is heading straight for Hoist. But in that moment, you see the twitch of the head as the Sahuagin's gaze is fixed upon the captain's door. So for you, Hoist, that is 24 to hit.
Oh, absolutely.
So you are going to take 10 points
10?
of piercing damage.
Oh,
The other Sahuagin will go 30, and it is going to throw its makeshift trident in your direction, Captain Fisheye, as you just lit it up with flames. It's a 19 to hit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Almost twice
You take
over.
5 points of piercing damage.
In the face.
No, leave my face alone. It's
Join
fine.
the club.
Trident pierces skin. You manage to pull it out, and as it falls to the ground, the Sahuagin looks to you, but is now looking to you and looking over to what you can consider is its captain of sorts, like for validation or some form of confirmation on what to do next.
Don't take your eyes off me, boy.
Poised, Captain Fisheye on deck.
Oh, we're looking to the right. We got a new anchor appearing out of the mist. We are getting a spinning, and we're gonna throw it at the Sahuagin on the right that is now charging our good old Unk here.
Okay,
Ooh, that is a 22.
that hits, definitely.
That is going to be tether number 2 for 4 damage.
Okay,
Knowing that the other one is bloodied, I already have a tether on him, but we're gonna do just a normal trident attack of my own. So throw just another dirty 20 for another anchor through the air. This one just a normal ranged attack. I'll use it as my second attack just to do a little bit more damage because those do a bit more. That is 7 piercing damage.
to the big boy coming in front of you.
Big boy, yes.
Gotcha.
Looking across the deck now, and then we're gonna bonus action do the same thing. We are gonna tidal bond Storm as that electricity begins to crackle once more. Can both of them now, because I have both of them tethered, can both of them make dex saves for me, please?
Sure thing. The first one,
The DC's 12.
first one is an 11,
Nice.
and second one is a 21. So 11 for the big boy, 21 for the little guy.
Okay, it's only 2 lightning damage, halved on a save. As these anchors are just going across the deck, shattering boxes. There's whatever's in line of sight. It's straight there.
And you produce them, and they almost carry weight when you send them over, as this magical connection connects all the creatures together. But with that, the younger, more frail-looking one, tell me this, Hoist. How do you claim this soul?
Ooh, we hear Uncle Fisheye. Look at me. You're on me. Eyes on me. As he is just beelining it now. And I'm just like a T-bone car in an intersection. The anchor comes and knocks him right in the neck. Not even seeing it coming in the slightest, as that spin is just cranking up momentum. The anchor releases, hits him across the neck, and then just that little zap right as he hits him, like you touched a doorknob after walking across a little shag rug.
The creature's neck snaps before it is just shot out of the ship and crashes into the water below.
That a boy, Hoist.
That's one down.
Even I was a little bit surprised by like the anchor just like knocking this thing like out of my like I'm staring at it and then the anchor comes
Yeah.
in and just wipes him
Freight
out
train that
across.
shit. Yeah.
All right. But I'm still singing along to this sea shanty, and I look over at the last fish. I continue singing, and I feel like I get to the chorus as the flames spin around in my hand once again, and it's just another throw. All right, let's see what we get here. The first roll was a 24.
Oh, that hits.
The second roll was less, so 24.
Yeah, but you got to sing a good song.
Exactly. I'm singing along to this
It's
sad
the
song.
rhythm of the song that's helping you conjure the fireball at the right. Yeah, okay.
Yep, I keyed up the side of your pretty little four-wheel drive, and I threw that firebolt.
That's not Kelly Clarkson, that's Carrie Underwood.
Whatever, man.
Different American Idol.
Captain Fisheye, how do you claim this soul?
Oh, get him.
Like I said, I'm singing the chorus of Mary's song. The flames, they're crackling in this circle in my hand, and they fling out like a spear, hitting the thing, I imagine right in the chest, and it hits, crackles out, but it hit just a little bit lower than skin deep. It went right below the epidermis, and that spark out was like a sunburst inside its chest.
You watch as all the coral of its armor shatter into pieces as his entire chest plate ceases to be. Jolt of energy, shoot it backwards, and it just drags amongst the deck, leaving a trail of this dark ichor-like blood. And with that, we're out of combat.
We start with flames and we end with flames.
And he died.
All according to plan.
As in that moment, as you guys are finishing up this encounter, you watch as the rest of the crew, a good 20 or 30 individuals come out, sleep deprived and looking over in your direction. You even see Leland, who is just like barely keeping his eyes open, looking to you all before you hear the door open on the captain's cabin. You see as the flames continue to alight the entire space here on the deck, you see the details on his face, familiar to you all. You see an older, tan human man with a long, brown, dark mustache that comes out to the sides of his mouth, and then a goatee that is braided, comes down a fair distance. Wrinkled skin and an adorning black pirate hat. And the one thing that you notice that shines above the rest as the flames showcase this true captain, this true pirate before you, it is, instead of skull and crossbones, 3 eyes and tentacles wrapped around the entire design of the hat. You recognize this as your captain, Captain Grimscar, who looks to you all and in that moment says, "One night of sleep be all I require, yet I apparently have signed some treaty with Davy Jones to deprive me of said luxury." He extends his hand, and from it emanates a blade that he clutches. As he clutches it, you see a curved blade with a wavy edge, and he points it towards the sail. And with his other hand, he holds on to the side wall entering his cabin, almost for like support, but you know that it is for more. You know that it is actually for him to be able to keep himself upright, as he is a very weak man. But in that, as he takes his sword and turns it, the entire mast begin to correct itself as it raises upwards, and it comes up. None of the wood puts itself together, but the mast itself goes completely erect, and the flames, they cease to be. And all that remains on the sail is but a simple tear of where that arrow pierced through. And you watch as the captain, he looks over. Captain Fisheye, with your passive, you notice that at the hilt of his sword, there is a small vial, a clear vial that is affixed to the very hilt of the sword. And as he brings the sword down, you watch as the rest of the crew, they all rush over to the mast, and he says, "Leland, make yourself useful and pick 3 other arty lads to help you in reinforcing the max now." And then he looks at you all, and he goes, "The 4 of ye, in me cabin, now." Turns around, and there you see Leland, who looks over, and he picks a stronger human male that is like shirtless, a smaller but still stout, darker human man with black hair, and then a very small but covered in tattoos, very similar to you, Captain Fisheye, with hair brushed over to the side, bald on the heads. She walks over, and then Leland goes, "The 3 of you will do." And they walk over to the mast, and they begin to, all of them, work on it as the captain turns around and heads inside of his quarters.
Salute.
I could have done that if I had more time, but in the moment, I say, I'm like grumbling to myself as I walk towards the door.
Place a hand on his back. Save your strength. We're going to a grotto.
That's true, me lad.
Why are we going to the grotto? They literally showed up and tried to murder us for going to the grotto. Why don't we just not go to the grotto?
They show up to our home and try to kill us. We show up to their home and try to kill them.
Spite. Just spite.
Yeah. Mary gets it.
That does not seem like an action that will be deemed badly by history at all. There is no way that this goes poorly.
Foxy, we're pirates. We're not going down in history in a good way anyway.
You know what, Fisheye? That's why I love you. You always correct me in a way that makes me realize I'm looking at it wrong.
We're going down in history as the richest pirates.
I like that. To the captain.
As you all begin to enter the captain's quarters, you are greeted by a familiar place, as you 4 have been inside of this cabin many times. You have sailed together for so long, almost in second nature, to navigate yourselves amongst a very private space, very secluded amongst the rest of the crew. A mess of maps and charts adorn the wooden floor of this room. Books torn in half and pages ripped out and pierced into the walls with sharp blades. The captain begins to walk over to this bar that's pressed up on the back of this cabin as you all begin to easily find your normal seating arrangements or standing wherever you please to be in this cabin. There you hear the captain clink 4 glasses. And as he's preparing and uncorking a bottle of rum, you hear him say, "Now and again we find ourselves in me owing me true potential to ye all. But did it have to come at the cost of me ship? Fisheye?"
Look, Captain, it's worked before. I call up the sea, I put out the fires. Just, something was different about this one. At least it seemed that way.
He turns around and now has 4 glasses full of rum and he goes, "Ye reacted quickly, true, and you continue to prove yourselves to be me most trusted, skilled crew. Here, a drink." And he passes it over as he passes the 4 glasses to you all. But in doing so, there is kind of like a slight groaning, there is some pain that the captain is experiencing, but he passes the cups to you all. "If I could, I would be drinking with you all tonight, but instead, I tip me hat. Fisheye, exceptional work, but remember, not on my ship." And he takes off his hat. You see the long mess of brown hair that adorns the captain, but on the top, there are patches missing entirely of hair. And as he looks up, that warm face greets you, but where the shadow was hiding it from his hat, his face, you very much see a weakened and shriveled husk of a man. Eye sunking in and a cough that greets you all again. It's been some time that the captain has been like this. You all have seen him slowly continue to decline as he stumbles and at this point gives you all a warm smile, a very gentle but half-hearted salute before he turns around and begins to walk towards his bed. What are you guys doing as the captain is allowing you to be in this room but begins to get himself a little bit more comfortable?
Drinking the glass of rum, and I think that's going to make everything else a little bit easier. And then I'm going to go and refill it, but as I'm refilling it, I'll look at the maps around. But the question I ask to the captain is, so the grotto, where are we headed?
You watch as the captain, he lifts his blankets, very weak, and turns around to you and gives you a death stare. "Dalian, you've forgotten already. What am I to do with you, boy? Huh? Them wandering eyes be the end of your vast staring at a weak man." And he walks over and he sits on his bed. "The Arlo journey's end be 2 days out. Don't tell me you've forgotten what you be looking for."
I just wasn't expecting fishmen to show up on the deck and for the whole mast to go up in flame that couldn't be put out by fire. I think it's just thrown me for a loop, Captain. I'm sorry. My blade is yours, as it always has been, and I'm going to keep myself razor sharp.
It's quite all right. You are, at the end of the day, more a sea fox than you are a thinker. Hoist, come, help me, lad, help me.
Walk over and I'm assuming lend him an arm, like usual.
Turns his body, groans as he brings his legs up to the bed. Fisheye, you know that you are on your way to Journey's End, the location of the hollowed chambers of Deep Grotto.
I fear to think of what you'd all do if you didn't have the captain here to lead you, and me here to remember where you guys are supposed to go. We're going to Journey's End.
Fisheye, why do you think I'm always trying to protect you? Because I don't have any idea what's going on.
As Fisheye mentions that you're heading to Journey's End, to where this Deep Grotto is located, I'll say that for this, it all clicks for you all. Oh, that's right. That is where we're going. You know you're on a mission, but you've been on so many missions at this point that they all weave in together. And then the captain looks to you, Hoist, with wide eyes, and he goes, "You best be listening to Fisheye now. That's a keen mind right there.
One of us has to have a brain, don't we?
Journey's End be home to the hollow chambers of Deep Grotto."
The grotto.
Yes, Hoist. Deep inside the emptiness, the scrolls speak of Pura Vita,
Oh.
unclaimed. Fisheye, go ahead and give me a history check.
Ooh, I think I'm good at that. My plus doesn't even matter. That was a nat 20. That's my nat 20 for the
That's
Boy,
night.
there we
great,
go.
brother.
We get it. You're smart, okay?
I know about Puta Vita.
No, don't say Puta Vita. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Don't say Puta Vita.
Wait, that means two different things.
Oh, I know.
Love it, love it. Keep it in, Ryan. Keep it in.
Puta Vita.
Pura Vita. You know that it is this sort of mystical elixir that has gone through the scrolls and the ages, and pirates have sought it out, like an elixir of life of sorts. This old pirate tale, but what's so important about it is that Pura Vita is said to be of Davy Jones' personal possession, and it lies deep within the chambers of the Deep Grotto. And the captain then continues talking to you, Hoist. I've done me part in ensuring me best crew enter these chambers safely. Many sacrificed to seeking the truth behind the Sage's scrolls. And now, I can assure you, and he looks over to you, Mary, the chambers of Deep Grotto be ours for the taking. Come on, tuck me in, he says to you, Hoist. He dropped his jacket before he got into bed, and it was like a loud thud. Just a very weak man that is just like barely hanging on, more so showcasing to the rest of the crew, but to you guys, he's very vulnerable. Begins to get himself a little bit more comfortable before he looks over and he goes, "Get the lads," he says to you, Hoist. "Get the lads."
Well, we'll steer you right. And I'll take 2 fingers on each hand and lift up the covers. Make sure he's nice and cozy while being as gentle as I can.
Mary, come here, Mary. Do not trust the treasure at Deep Grotto. We've talked about this, Mary. Those brave enough must look unto the eyes of Davy Jones and collect the marks. Then you should be able to open the atrium, collect the Pura Vita, and return it back to me. For this here. And now he raises his voice a little more as he tries to get himself up slightly from the bed, and he looks to you all and he raises a very weakened hand. He goes, "For this here, you all shall be rewarded heavily with coin and new title. This be your captain's promise." And he leans back, puts his head to his pillow, and begins to almost like mumble to himself, a very older man, just barely hanging in there. And slowly, in his like mumbling, just like another old man, he just naturally then falls asleep.
When he falls asleep, I'm going to look at the maps. I'm not going to roll for it. They mean nothing to me. But I will turn to the crew as I'm looking to my group here. Pura Vita, I'm all in for making sure we get coin and new titles. If this is their welcoming party, we hadn't even seen what they got in the main chamber.
Foxy, I understand what you're saying, but who are we to question our captain? This is the man that leads us. I've known him for decades now. He wouldn't steer us wrong.
He's human, isn't he? You gonna tell me one human hadn't made a bunch of right decisions and then turned wrong when they realized they were staring death right in the barrel?
What, you scared?
I'm not scared. I just feel like I got things I want to do that I'm going to waste trying to get this Pura Vita for a captain who does not give the same respect to me. He's not going to do the thing that I want to do.
Well, I just didn't know you had such a long to-do list, because my list is, get money, which we can do at the grotto.
You said it yourself. He's a human. We all know that you're a freaking elf, just like Unk over here. He ain't got a lifetime. You know, his lifetime is a dozen of years, if not more. You got time. He ain't.
All right. Hey, if everybody feels this and I'm the only one that's out, I'm in.
I'm gonna walk up and put my hands on the Sea Fox's shoulders, like reassuringly but firmly. Foxy, we're pirates. No day is a cakewalk for us. And are you telling me that if you didn't have this treasure, this thing that he's willing to risk his life and our lives to get, you're telling me you wouldn't want to protect it with your life if you had it? That's all these things are doing.
Of course, I don't blame them. I know exactly why they're doing it. I'd want to protect it with my life too. But if I was protecting it with my life, somebody was going to die trying to get it. I don't want us to walk into this feeling like we're invincible. Whoever these guys are, they got more than a couple pieces of steel they're willing to throw, and they know how to throw them.
Don't be a lubber, Foxy. And I'll clap you on the back and cast Cure Wounds. Just next time, try not getting hit by the tridents, all right?
Y'all are my family in a way, and it worries me that we're going into something dangerous. But y'all got this. I trust y'all. I'll drink to danger and gold, won't I?
Cheers.
Cheers.
To danger.
As you all enjoy your drink, we fast forward 2 days travel on the seas towards Journey's End. With this, since you all can take a long rest, having awakened now on the second day, you have tattoos. And if you have more than 2 tattoos, you can speak to your Spellskin Wizard and choose to activate a new tattoo for the day. For you can only activate 1 tattoo. Let me know what tattoo you chose to speak to Captain Fisheye in order for him to activate on this day.
As always, just the Ironbound tattoo. I got my good old anchor. I'm ready to start the day.
I think I have the siren. Let's see how that does for me.
I just got a fresh tatty. I feel like I'm gonna use it. I'll do my flicker tattoo then, which allows me to see invisible stuff.
So with that, 2 days pass. The mast is fixed to a very expert level degree. It looks like Leland and the hands were able to at least salvage this to a workable fashion. You arrive at the shores of Journey's End, with the sun basking the day with light. There, ominously, you see what looks like a colossal skull, half submerged on the coastal cliffs, its eye serving as the gateway to the unknown depth within. The Hades Hound, your ship, docks, and the 4 of you dock from it. As you all begin to walk on the shores of Journey's End, you then hear almost like the panting and heavy footsteps from the deck as the captain rushes over to the railing. There, he takes off his hat and he looks over to the 4 of you, and with how you choose to perceive this, earnest and sincere declaration, he says, "Return to me, even if empty-handed." And he puts his hat down as the rest of the crew, they almost like cheer on. And then the captain goes, "Get back to work. Don't be staring where you don't need to." And then the rest of the crew scatter as the 4 of you look onto him. And you continue heading towards Deep Grotto. As you all arrive at the entrance of Deep Grotto, there is this sort of cool breeze that greets you on the eye of the skull. Very beautiful day. It is a warm day, a great day for adventuring, but your time on the seas have given you that extra edge to definitely anticipate what lies ahead. There's like a hollow sound that comes deep within the chamber. Do you journey forth?
I cast Mage Armor, and then I journey forth.
Attaboy.
Yay, good job.
Yep.
I would like to run my fingers along the anchor chain around my waist as this almost teal bluish mist begins to form around my fingers. Watching my compatriots walk in front of me with that mist just coalescing in my hand, in my palm, I'm going to give it a blow towards their feet. And as the wisp begins to encircle their feet, I would like to cast Pass Without Trace, please.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, love me.
Why
a little
do you
pass
have
out
that?
trace.
Oh, you're a ranger, right?
Ranger,
baby.
baby!
Ranger, baby.
My favorite.
In case we want to be sneaky about it, I figured might as well. So that is concentration for an hour.
I don't know if it matters. I have dark vision.
Oh, same.
I also have dark vision.
I don't.
R.I.P.
In that moment, as you guys enter the chamber, that dark vision does come into play. It definitely assists you as you are greeted by stone steps that lead downward into a hollow and dark chamber that begins to weave from left to right, lower and lower. You see that faint shade of gray before you that allows you to discern those patterns. However, Hoist, for you, you are completely blind in this. You hear the sounds of what almost seem like water dripping, your steps splashing on some puddles of water. You continue heading downward, taking a sharp left before the staircase seems to break off, like there are pieces of it missing, so you guide your way through. You continue heading downward for a good while.
Say, Hoist, do you want to be quiet or do you want to be seen? Or do you want to be able to see, not be seen? I guess you will be seen also.
I already made us quiet.
Right, but quiet doesn't matter if you're shining bright like a diamond.
And I tap him on the nose, and it just casts a light on his forehead or something.
I'll just follow behind you guys.
All right, I extinguish the light.
Hoist, when the light from Fisheye illuminates the space before you, just before he extinguishes it, on the sides of the cavern, you see what looks like dried up blood scraped along the sides of the wall.
Well, that doesn't look good. But we did say danger down here. We got some dried blood leading further in. So maybe we do be a little bit quiet.
And then Fisheye, for you, before you extinguish the light, that was the quickest thing that Hoist could see, but the blood like smears are all over the circular chamber, on the roof of it, on the sides of the wall, even down onto the steps. Like something has crawled, something has bled out.
I don't like that one bit. It's more than just a little blood, Hoist. There seems to be blood literally everywhere. I'm not gonna be up front anymore.
I'm gonna watch my step then.
Shall we shift into quiet mode?
I crouch a little bit, my knees crack.
I crouch a little bit, and my quads look fantastic.
I'm just standing because I'm 5 feet tall, and I'm just gonna just keep
I
walking.
too full stand up straight, but
7 feet tall.
we are making noise. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Alright.
we're not sneaking either.
Not until Jose says,
Roll me a stealth check.
"Hey!"
There we go.
What do we get to
Alright.
add to it? Plus 10?
Plus 10, baby.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I love Rangers.
Oh, thank God, because I got a 7, so that's a dirty 20.
I got a 7 also, so 17.
I got
wait,
an 8, so that's an 18.
Oh, mine's dirty 20 as well.
31.
Dude, you're the wizard or the... What
I'm
is
the
this?
wizard.
Yeah, chill.
Easily, all of you, without a sound, are able to continue your journey downward. With that, as you guys arrive at the heart of the deep grotto, when you land on the very first step that is no longer a step leading downward, the two lanterns in the space, they emit a blue flame that begins to encapsulate the entire space before you. This place is completely new to you all. The captain did say to open the doors in the atrium. As sure enough, when you land and the flames aglow, there you see before you a stone door that is pressed up against each other, and the door itself is almost like a swirl of stone that is embedded into each other. There, on the stone, on both doors, you see handprints with some form of like runic-like symbol in the center of it, ornamented with carvings depicting the deep sea all throughout the space. The right passage, you see it's pooling over with water into the atrium. And then to the left, you see a similar staircase, but it is completely dry. There is a hallway to your right, hallway to your left.
I figure we go to the left, right, guys?
No, that's the easy way. It's got to be the right.
I don't breathe underwater.
I don't know how deep it is.
It's coming out of the room. Obviously, it's pretty deep.
If we open the door, there will be less.
Look, I vote for the room that's not flooded.
From what you can see right now, it just looks like pooling water, and the roof of the cavern essentially is of the same height. You can't really necessarily know if it's just a turn to the right or if it dips down.
Why don't we go both ways? There's 4 of us.
That's great. Yeah, I'm going to go to the left.
I'll join you.
Y'all go to the right and let me know how the deep sea exploration goes for you.
Oh, Hoist, you might need this.
And I'll tap you again with the light.
Oh, yes, thank you.
What color do you choose, Uncle Fisheye?
Probably like a light green. Like it's kind of like the early morning sea plankton algae, like that level of like vibrant light green.
Appreciated.
We'll go ahead and begin with Uncle Fisheye and Sea Fox. So, as you all four split, 2 of you going to the left, 2 of you going to the right, the 2 of you, for the sake of this, we'll call this Room B. You see a narrow passageway leading down a dark room, which now as it greets you, you see it is carpeted with calcified coral formations and the distinct smell of low tide. Dominating the far wall of the chamber is an imposing structure resembling half of a face, and its massive eye is firmly shut.
All right, so it looks like there's a big old face and a lot of coral. What do you think?
At first glance, I got nothing, but let me think.
Okay. I'm just going to walk around the space.
The coral that is around, it is everywhere. Are you stepping on the coral, or are you trying to not step on the coral?
I'm trying to not step on the coral as best I can.
Then go ahead and give me, just for the hell of this, an athletics check.
Okay.
Or it would be more so acrobatics, actually.
Okay, that's a 9.
No.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I was just hoping to kind of like look around the room and see what I can discern from what I'm seeing. Like seeing if there's a correlation between the coral and the door and everything that's in here.
Correlation?
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check. As you see Sea Fox, you're beginning to walk, and you're being very careful not to step on the coral, as when you step over your first batch of it, you see that the coral is incredibly sharp. And since it's been deprived of water, there is a texture to it that seems almost like serrated. So you nimbly walk through your first patch, your second. What did you roll, Fisheye?
25.
You see before you remember very specifically what the captain told you in this moment. You see pretty much nothing, just a very dried out chamber, but that distinct smell of low tide gives you the sensation of maybe at some point this room was, maybe not necessarily full of water, but it definitely had more water than what's currently present. And then you remember what the captain said, which was, those brave enough must look into the eyes of Davy Jones and collect the marks. As we shoot over to Hoist and Mary. Hoist and Mary, you guys continue to walk, and Mary, rightfully so, with your astute observation, as you look into the space and the water that greets you that pulls into the atrium, your first step goes down as you realize that it is a staircase that leads deeper into the water and lower into the chamber.
Guess we're going for a swim.
I told him we could walk for a bit.
Could walk underwater.
I'll slowly walk down the stairs until it gets to about neck height, and then
Okay.
I'll wait.
Yeah, is it underwater for him if if you're 7 feet
for
tall?
you, Hoist, you basically get to a ceiling that greets you before you're like, okay, you're gonna have to duck down, submerge yourself into water to actually enter the room fully. But for you, Mary, depending on how far you want to go, yeah, it's very easy for you to be completely submerged as you're about to enter the room.
Okay, I walk until I'm completely submerged.
All right, wait. You want the left? You want the left side of the room or the right side of the room? I feel like when we're underwater, time is of the essence. We should go one way or the other. And you can see things.
Oh, well, you have a light.
Kind of.
She like boops his nose.
The corridor that you're currently on, it descends about 30 feet into a chamber that is completely submerged in water. Dominating the chamber, on the far wall, stands a mural-like structure, pretty much identical to the one that I described in the other room. But this one, its eye is open. In the water, that is essentially the only light source that it's coming from. It's coming from this eye, where what's missing light is at the center of the pupil. There is a strange marking on the pupil itself. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
13?
16.
There we go.
Mary, you notice, but followed closely behind with Hoist, as this rune symbol that's on the eye matches the rune symbol that was on the door in the atrium. But this room, vibrant coral formations that cover the entire chamber, growing upon several scattered cages, housing long forgotten skeletal-like remains, say but one. On the far distance, you see what looks like a half-elf. Its entire face has just been ripped and eaten and decayed with water, has been sitting here for quite some time, but it is fresh. With your 16, you notice that this creature is holding a coin. As in the center of the room, there's a 5-foot wide abyss with a couple of coins around this abyss as well. And when you look into it, it is pitch black, and there is gold scattered everywhere on this chamber.
I'm gonna gesture to the half elf, and then I'm gonna swim over there, grab the coin that he has because he thought it was important, and take a closer look at that if it has like any similar runes or anything.
Go ahead and then roll an investigation check for the current coin.
Well, 17.
17. And then Hoist, what are you doing?
She pointed at the half elf, and I'm assuming kind of gestured to the initial
like the
coins
gold.
around. Yeah. I would probably, she seems like she's on a mission. I'm going to let her do her thing, and I'm going to go over to the abyss and try to pick up one coin at least and slip it in a pocket.
For you, Mary, as you look at the coin that the half-elf was holding, it's just a simple gold coin. There's nothing discerning about it. They actually look exactly like the coins of all of the other, amongst the other treasure that has been littered here. But at a glance, you catch a bit of a shimmer or like a glitter, like something hitting a light. As tucked away in the pockets, there is a pocket full of coins that this elf has.
Look into Davy Jones' eyes and collect the marks. That's what the captain told me. I'll reach in and grab like the fistful of the gold and stuff in my pocket. And I would like to. There's clearly a lot of gold marks. I need gold. They're like money, so I'm gonna go over to the eye. I'm gonna like. I mean, I guess I don't really need to gesture. You just see me swimming, so I'll like swim over to the eye, and I want to inspect that or like look into it.
You see a bright bluish light that is almost spinning in place around the rune symbol of the pupil. There is like a faint whisper to it, muffled underneath the water, but still draws your attention towards it.
I can't really do anything if he doesn't look over, but I'm gonna like try and signal Hoist and like point to the eye, and then I'm gonna turn back around and go closer, like I'm trying to like look into it.
We'll shoot back to the other two. As Sea Fox, you're making your way through these pools of calcified coral, your boot snags on one of them before you lose your footing and your leg scrapes all along the side of one of these coral beds. You take 4 points of piercing damage, but the coral does not break.
Ow. All right, that hurts.
Oh, lad.
Yeah, no, that's on me. I shouldn't have been walking around in here. I just figured. Ow.
As your leg gets scraped, there amongst hidden on a bed of coral, you see a similar 5-foot wide abyss that is just darkness underneath.
Ow. Hey, what? Hang on. There's about a 5-foot wide abyss of pure darkness. I don't know what that is. You got any ideas?
Could it be a tunnel, a pipe? I'm not sure. I mean, this coral's pretty dry. Thought maybe we could wet it and that would change things, but if there's an abyss underneath, man, I imagine the water might just flow right through.
It feels like everything that we talked about with the captain, it just feels opposite here. It smells like the water's gone out of here.
Look him in the eye and take the marks.
Yeah, he's got a giant closed eye statue. How are we supposed to look him in the eye and take his mark if he's got his eyes closed?
I don't know. Here, stand clear for a second. I'm going to try the water thing anyway.
I can kind of control where this is based on size, but I'm going to cast Tidal Wave again. I'm aiming it anywhere that is not where the Sea Fox is. Again, like the waves that are underneath the lighthouse on my stomach start rippling, and some of the water comes out of those waves, but then water from the other room is like dragged across the middle area that we walked into at first. It like conjures up behind me and slaps down on the coral in the room. And I'm going to try and cover as much of the coral as I can. It can be 30 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and then the water settles.
When you pull the water, you engulf the room in it. All of the coral, as it is splashed with water, begins to vibrantly glow before you hear like a rolling sound. And it looks like the eye attempts to open before all of the water siphons and pools down into the abyss. And then you just hear it falling down before all the water leaves the room.
Ah, damn.
Hoist, since you are by there, as you are standing near those coins, you see that the current of the water, there seems like water's coming upwards to you now, and it moves the coins around.
I'm confused, and I'm going to take the coin that I picked up and I was gonna slip in my pocket, and I'm gonna throw it through the abyss hole.
Mary, what are you doing as you're still staring? You were waving at this eye.
I guess if nothing further is happening, then I'll like pull out that coin the half elf had and like try like waving it in front of the eye, or maybe like tapping it on the eye.
As you tap it on the eye, your fingers, almost like magnets, begin to be almost like separated from your hand as they begin to be outstretched towards the eye. But it's like this like magnetic thing where you like drop the coin and your fingers shoot towards it.
I'm gonna touch it.
You touch the eye, and in that moment, it's almost like nothing happens, and Hoist, you throw the coin down. As Mary, you hold on, and you feel a chilling sensation in your hand to take you. As it takes you, your hand is embedded into the stone, and the eye begins to close in around your fingers, and then you feel a surging pain before something almost like pierces through your hand. And as it does, you hear, and as it pulls, a piece of your soul is pulled away from you. Your soul link, a mechanic that Sync has, you only have at level 5 hit die. Your soul link is a 5. You now no longer have 5, you have 4. If you drop to 0 hit points and you have no soul link, no hit die left, you're considered sunken and you die. And like a ghost-like flame, your soul leaves you, and it's almost like you see a mirror vision of yourself, but only from the back of the head. As it gets pushed into the stone, you manage to pry your hand away before the eye shuts. And in that moment, Hoist, when you drop the coin, all of the water in this room begins to be drained. As Fisheye and Sea Fox, from the opposite end, you hear something rumbling as water shoots out from the room and begins to engulf the entire space in it and begins to fill up with water as one room drains and the other begins to fill.
I think what you did worked, Fisheye. I think it worked too well.
Wait, the eye. Get to the eye.
Rapidly, the room begins to fill with water at a very rapid pace, to the point where in the stairs that you're standing, it almost comes to your knees already. And at that point, as it reaches the sort of the nose of the statue in the end of the room, the eye then begins to open slowly before the water takes over the entire room, and then the eye opens fully. Mary, when you look at your hand, you bear a rune embedded in there, raised slightly, but it is there on your hand, like the one on the door.
I'll swim towards the eye, then put his hands on it in an attempt trying to move this eye around as though it's like a lever or something.
Same thing, as you press your hands on the eye, your hands begin to be almost like pulled towards the pupil, as there brightly as the eye illuminates, you see a rune that matches the door on the atrium. There present before you, but your hands are drawn to the center of it.
I'm just gonna let it happen.
2 thumbs up, just like nodding.
I turn back. I like smile and turn back as my hands go towards the pupil.
Your hand reaches the center, you turn around to look at Fisheye, and almost in a moment, you see a vision of Fisheye. Some past adventure, some lazy day on the deck. A memory of him flashes before you as a past version of yourself. Some form of your essence lingers on that happy memory, perhaps, of him, before your soul is also sucked out. So you lose one soul link. You look down at your hand. You bear another rune symbol.
Wave for him to head towards the exit.
I'm going to swim towards the exit for sure.
You swim towards the exit. Hoist and Mary, are you guys leaving your chamber?
I think we did something.
You know, he said don't trust the treasure, but I feel like that's different than just taking the treasure. Taking it isn't trusting it. Let's just put some in our pockets.
We can scoop them up on the
Scoop
way
up a little
out.
more gold.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Mary, when you begin to touch the gold, it burns you as you attempt to grab it and put it in your pockets. You take 3 points of fire damage.
Ow!
As the gold, to you, it is almost like unbearable to touch. With that, you exit the chamber. You, Sea Fox and Fisheye, you exit the chamber as well. You both meet each other. The space is yours. What lies before you is that stone door with the hand markings on them. And now that you can see, the same runic symbols that you bear on your hands are the same that are on the door.
Oh, you got a mark too.
I hold my hand out for a runic cursed hand high five with Mary.
I guess we should find out if this hurts too, and she'll high five you, but like really fast, like she pulls back just in case it burns.
She has trauma.
Does it burn when we touch? Does it hurt?
When you
me?
touch, both of you, no, it doesn't burn. It just feels normal.
Oh, thank God. Don't touch the gold.
What gold?
Any of it.
I stick my hand in the hand slot and I'm ready to go.
Okay, I'll put my hand in the other one.
You both place your hands, and as you do, you feel a ripping almost of your skin as the runic symbols like cold ice get stuck to the stone before the door itself begins to move. But as it moves, your hands are stuck to it. It is moving to the side. So essentially, Sea Fox, your hand is going to the left, and then Mary, your hand is going to the right. But it is still embedded to the door as the door begins to open to a chamber.
In that case, I'm going to try and take it out.
You rip flesh.
Okay.
As you bring out your hand bloodied, you take 2 points of damage. Mary.
Can I see what's in the room while I still have my hand on the door?
Yeah, I'll say that as the door is opening, that same blue candle flame begins to illuminate a long hallway where this room, long hallway with a low bit of water amongst a set of stairs. And there at the end of the room, in an adorning fashion, is a skull that very much resembles the two faces that you saw put together. But on the eyes and on the mouth that are gaped open, it's like an endless black void within. And as the door opens, from the center of the room, a pillar begins to show itself. And as it does, stone begins to crumble and it rises to about waist height. Before from it, when it stops, a single drop of water dropped from the ceiling, hits the top of the pillar, and it forms into a bowl. Your hand is still in the door as you're seeing this.
All right, get in. I've got to take my hand off. Quickly.
I'll waltz in. I'll put the anchor in between long ways, just in case the door happens to slam. Maybe it'll catch on the anchor and the other two can jump through.
I'm going to run through quick as I can.
I hop through and I seeing the Sea Fox's hand get ripped. I'm like tearing off the edge of my shirt. So I have like a strip of cloth that I'm like chasing after him with to like wrap around his hand.
So Fisheye, Sea Fox, and Hoist after anchoring the door there. So we're just waiting on Mary. So Mary, you're waiting until everybody's inside of the chamber?
Yeah. I mean, unless I'm literally about to be crushed, I would wait until they've gotten in, and I will try
I'll
to
say that right as
tear
Fisheye
my
goes
hand
in,
off.
your hand's about to be crushed. So you rip it off. That thin layer of skin rips with it. You take 3 points of damage.
It's okay. That was burned already anyways.
And as you guys enter the chamber, as soon as Mary steps through, the doors, they close. You hear a rumbling in the room as the flames grow larger and you hear, "Unworthy." The sound begins to emanate, all coming from the skull on the opposite side.
Well, that's your opinion. I'll look for more runes, like the one on my hand.
You look around. This room is bare of any markings or insignia or any words. It is all just stonework that has definitely seen some age, but has been kept up.
I think that I would be looking at the bowl and the skull, like slowly approaching things, listening to the voice. It's kind of like general, like taking in the environment, seeing if anything is leading to anything else.
Give me an investigation check as you near the pillar, or the pillar in the room. Hoist?
I think honestly, just keeping watch. I'd like to just ready a anchor toss. If anything happens to move. My eyes are mainly on Fisheye though.
Okay, make a perception check for me then. Fisheye, what did you roll?
14.
As you get closer to the pillar, you begin to see discernible images that the stone crumbles away and is almost like revealed to you. There you see, with your high intelligence, a very recognizable figure, even its simplistic design, Davy Jones, guiding a body through the realms beyond. You walk over to the second pillar, the face of this one. You see Davy Jones engaged in what looks like Blackbeard. Face number 3, Davy Jones aboard his ship looking out to the horizon. Say about the fourth face, the face that is actually facing the skull. There you see an ominous image of a creature you've never seen before, with goat-like horns and 3 eyes, and in their hands clutched tightly the dead body of Davy Jones. The eyes on this creature resemble the eyes on your captain's hat.
Aye, that's what I was thinking.
Unworthy. The voice emanates again. What was your perception, Hoist?
Nat 1 for a 7.
You don't hear anything but the sound of something knocking from the door where you just came from. Almost like frantically.
I don't think I would have moved too far into the chamber anyway. Is there any way I can potentially take the anchor and try to pry the door open, since it's shut so hard behind us anyway?
You walk over to the door. There's not even a place where you can wedge it on this side. It is almost like smooth surface altogether. There's nowhere to wedge it into. But you now hear, as you get closer to the door, you hear labored, but just like a frantic banging on the door.
I have nothing. Doors closed. I think Captain's here.
What?
What
What do you mean the captain's here? Wait, hold on.
T-Fox, were you standing near the skull?
Yeah.
As you're standing there, you all look over to where Hoist is. From the skull, a long red-skinned hand emerges out and attempts to grab at you. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
I don't know.
That's a 10.
That just succeeds, as the hand itself almost stops at the very edge of the skull opening of the mouth, almost like a prison keeping this creature within. And the hand coils back before it comes out from both the eyes and the mouth and wrap its hands around it. And there you see these 3 glowing yellow eyes that just looks to you and goes, "Unworthy." And it just now rattles the room. And in that moment, Hoist, the doors, they loosen and air begins to flow through. You're able to open the door from the opposite side.
Like a crowbar, I'm just wedging the anchor in and trying to, with all my might, pry against the leverage.
What is everybody else doing?
I don't fucking know.
I'm going to move farther away from the skull. I think I'm going to take my rapier out for sure. So I'm going to keep my eyes glued to this skull. And if that red arm comes out again, I'm going to kill it.
Hoist, you place the anchor, you begin to push out, and as the door opens, from the opposite side, standing there, the door gets enough to be able to squeeze a body through. You see the captain, wide-eyed, looking beyond you. And as you manage to pry the door open, he almost attempts to help you, but he's just almost like shimmying his way in, and he comes inside, taps you on the shoulder and then begins to run, just weakened, limping towards the skull creature. He passes by you, Mary. He passes by you, Seafox, and he drops down to his knees. And as he does, he produces the blade and he presents it out and he says, "Oh, significant one, you grace us with your presence."
You are weak, Grimscar. You can barely hold the true strength of the blade without losing your composure. I have felt your weakness. You believe this blade is enough to earn my favor.
The room rattles and shakes.
To think your current state makes you a worthy candidate to lead the Black Armada is foolish. Blade or not, you do not impress me. Now go and die.
The door that you are trying to pry open opens fully now, and it remains so. As the captain looks up and goes, "Oh, but I am prepared and ready to serve." He turns around, now he produces the blade, and for that brief second for you, Seafox, it almost looks like the captain's coming towards you, but he begins to walk towards the pillar. As he walks over, Mary, you're standing by in Fisheye. He doesn't even make eye contact with you, but he puts his hand above the bowl, takes the blade, and cuts his hand. But as he holds his hand, he looks to you then, Fisheye. "A captain is nothing without a loyal crew. What say ye?"
I look at the rest of the crew. I'm with you. Hold out my hand.
Seafox is backing away, and I'm gonna shake my head and I'm gonna look at the captain. They're right, Captain. I don't know what the Black Armada is. I don't know what's going on here, but this ain't your parade, and it sure as hell ain't mine.
He looks over to you.
What a shame, truly, to see all ye wasted potential on the whims of the tides. Ye don't know what power we hold here. Ye don't know what the gifts I can grant ye. You've always disappointed me.
He holds his hand over, and then he presents the blade to you, Fisheye. Do you accept this?
Fisheye, don't do it. This ain't worth it, man. I don't know what you think this is gonna be.
Quiet, it's his choice to make.
And I'm trying to give him the other side of this, all right? Y'all are talking in his ear. This ain't what y'all think it's gonna be. It's all right. This is some sort of weird...
Fisheye, we don't have much time. His presence is limited.
This ain't good, Fisheye, all right? You don't want to go down like this.
For the rest of your days, we can sail together. The treasures I can bestow upon you, the power I can grant you. You shall never hunger, you shall never age.
Gold ain't no good if you can't spend it, Fisheye.
Grimscar, it's never been about the gold. I've always just appreciated being by your side. I'll accept the sword.
He grabs your wrist, places it up, and he takes the blade and slashes, but then clasps your hand shut so it doesn't begin to bleed. Then you hear a low groaning sound coming from within the skull. Hoist and Mary.
I've always been one for a good story. As I run up and plunge my arm out.
What are you doing?
The captain greets you with a smile, still sunken in, still very weakened state. He looks over to you and he goes, "That's my boy." And he grabs your hand, slices your palm, and then clasps it shut. And then the captain then turns around to you, Mary.
Mary, what say ye?
Don't do this, Mary.
How does the rest of eternity sound? The four of us.
Don't do this.
Hey, Fox, is it the idea of eternity with him that scares you? What about a different captain? I would like to suggest that the captain gives me that sword. It's suggestion at second level. But he's old and feeble and weak, right? And he definitely has disadvantage, I'm sure. And he's bleeding out now. It's time you hand over the sword.
And he looks over to you, Mary, as I rolled a natural 20.
Oh.
And he looks over to you, Seafox, and he's going to rend essence as the light on the sword grips and you find your soul being pulled. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me with disadvantage.
17 was my disadvantage Constitution check.
That succeeds. You watch as the sword, the bottom hilt, the glass begins to glow as a part of you. It's almost like attempting to be sucked out, and the entire room goes black. As the room goes black, all of you begin to hear, no, a scream, blood curling, as in that moment you hear,
Your sacrifice and blood.
no. And you hear more like splattering, slashing sounds as Mary, because you can see invisibility, you see the arm of this creature grab onto the captain and hoist him high. As your friends Fisheye and Hoist are no longer in the room, the creature holds up the captain. As he holds him up, he, with the other hand poking through the eye, begins to rip at his clothes, and he begins to rip at him before eventually putting a nail right to the forehead and just ripping the flesh. And as he does, a blood-curdling scream fills the space, echoing through the chamber before the lights come back on. The two of you in that moment, when the lights faded, Hoist and Fisheye, you felt a jolt of lightning hit your back. It almost paralyzed you. And as the lights come back there, not facing you, you see squatted over the captain. And you feel a surge of energy zap through you as you begin to fall to the ground. Mary and Seafox, you see the two of them almost begin to shrink, and their clothes no longer fit as they both look over with these glazed, now yellow, serpent-like eyes.
Oh,
They look over to the captain, and you both just reach out to him. You hear the captain say,
Igathul knows my purpose.
you continue to shrink.
Igathul believes in your dear captain.
And you both continue, as in that moment, your body begins to shrivel and sink under your clothes, which no longer fit you. And when you adjust your vision in this chamber, you both see the two of them glide upwards towards the captain. A long, dark brown eel body with yellow sides is all you can see. Ripped of your voice, what remains for Hoist and Fisheye are your thoughts in a prison in your mind, stuck for eternity. And then adoration welcomes you towards the captain. One of you enters the skull from the gap in the ear, as when you look back, the captain is missing all flesh, but what remains is a bloodied skull open, and his hat now pitch black midnight with a gold trim. He looks over, and then you exit from the eye socket and swim as the two of you, like a dance, begin to swim merrily around your captain. As the captain draws his sword, and he looks over to you, Seafox, and he says,
What a shame, truly, to see all your wasted potential again, Seafox. Is it so hard, boy, to live out the rest of your days by my side as a captain of the Black Armada? Does that not tempt you?
and you two, as eels, look over with absolute disdain and hate towards Seafox. There's almost an element of you that wants to attack as you both begin to zap with energy in his direction. And the captain looks to you as they continue to swim through the open eye hole and then through the mouth and out through the ribs. They are one now, together forever as a crew.
No.
This is always what it's been about. The five of us charting the way for the seas. And yet your fear lingers.
Why, boy?
You don't even see what you become. You're a disgrace to what you were.
You hear the voice of Igathul come from the skull as you say, you no longer see what you've become. And the voice says,
He is mine.
and the skull rock, as the arms come through, it almost begins to morph, and the creature almost comes through. As when this happens, the stone and the body almost morph each other into what remains is no longer a skull, but a statue of a goated-like gargantuan figure in the room with his hands outstretched, a goat-like twisted horns and 3 eyes adorning the face, and a breaded goatee, and he looks over as he solidifies in stone, but the 3 golden eyes remain. And then he looks to you and he goes, I don't need much, lad. I just needed me crew.
I'm gonna look over to Mary try to gesture her like behind me as I've got this saber out towards this skeletal eel hydra. Tell you what, Captain, you and your crew can scour the waves till the end of time if that's what you want, but we ain't a part of this crew. That's for damn sure, so y'all can scour without us.
You watch as Hoist and Fisheye, now as eels. You look over to the captain, and the captain looks at you and he goes, "No, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right. The sea's answer to a horror call now. Best live your life before your time be to the sky." And he just motions, he just stands there, looking to you with his blade down.
I'm out. Mary's already turned towards the door. As I'm turning, I would like to attempt to cast a spell, and as I'm turning, I don't really have a clear view. I'm going to say odds for Fisheye, evens for Hoist. It's a 20, nat 20, so I will cast Dispel Magic on Hoist as I walk out. I don't know if I can do anything with this, but maybe I could make him not an evil eel. Sorry, Fisheye. Sorry, Uncle.
A anger boils within as you focus on Mary. But then Mary looks at you, and you've seen this time and time again, her practice this magic in this way, as she attempts to dispel magic on you. And there is a voice deep inside of you that is begging for salvation. It is a torment of screams in your head, but you cannot vocalize it. Your spell does not work, Mary. He is something else now. And then anger continues back. It takes over that emotion for you, Hoist, in the direction of Mary, as the two of you, in this case, can behave as these were hostile creatures. Do not attack, as the captain has not mentally told you to do, but to provide a sense of fear into the eyes of these two fellow crew members. Go now if you wish. You're wasting me time, boy.
I tried to tell you. This was always the end goal for you, wasn't it?
He looks over to you with his one remaining eye cocked open, a slight grin. You can stay.
On everything that I am, I would never.
Fisheye and Hoist, you both hear as he enters the chamber. Bring me a soul, will ya?
Let's just sleep. Quickly.
Mary, as your footstep hits that first step, you feel yourself get tugged and pulled, and you disappear from the space, and you appear in one of the cages along the other half-elf, having touched the gold. And you stand there as the chamber begins to fill with water. And in that moment, Seafox, when you turn around and you don't see her there anymore, you then see the two eels making their way in your direction as the captain begins to clink his sword, walking in your direction.
As I'm glancing around, seeing nobody, I'm gonna teleport as far as I can, which would be 90 feet away, and then I'm gonna keep trying to sprint out of this place.
You teleport out, and you continue running as from the distance now you hear the screams of Mary as she begs for something. But then you hear the clinking, tink, and you begin to feel the breeze. As you get closer and closer towards the exit, it is met with darkness as one by one now the lanterns aglow, guiding your path forward. But you hear the echoing footsteps and what sounds like laughter coming from behind you. And then you feel the breeze from the exit greet you. The deep grotto behind you now, as you allow yourself that moment of grace and safety, is quickly followed by the sound of screams. Your friends, perhaps, Hoist, Fisheye, Mary, all echoing in this chamber. And then you hear the storm now raging, torrential downpour, dancing the tides. And there your ship, the Hades Hound, you see it, but it is not no longer a sail, but the entire ship engulfed in flames. And the crew are all burning. They begin to throw themselves overboard, and the flames follow them even in the seas. The ferocity of the three adorning hound heads on the bow of the ship seemingly growl with the strength of the flames. You hear the crackling of the eels as they begin to get closer and closer. And as you look to the horror, you hear your dear captain. And for today, that's a wrap.
Oh my god.
All according to plan.
Yep. Oh,
I just,
totally.
I just
Yep.
felt like a pirate would just not. I just didn't want to say yes. That was too easy, you know?
Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for joining my crew on this adventure. I hope you guys had a blast. With that, we will see you all on September 17th when the Kickstarter for Sync goes live. Thank you so much.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Arr.